Virginia Public Utilities on Monday, June 23rd, 2025 at 3:30 p.m. Roll call, Mary, if you please.
Commissioner Hale,
Oh, present.
Commissioner Johnson,
Here.
Commissioner Makowski,
Here.
Commissioner Marwick,
Here.
and Commissioner Petrowski is absent.
Okay, we move to number 2, which is approved meeting agenda. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll do it.
Is there support?
Support.
Okay, discussion? Being none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. We move to consent agenda. Since the public forum, there's nobody here. I need a motion to approve A, resolution number 5368, which is approval of payroll, accounts payable, and net payment adjustments, along with B, approval of regular commission meeting minutes from the May 28th, 2025 meeting.
Make a motion?
Is there support?
Yes,
Okay, discussion.
I do have a question.
Okay, go ahead.
As I was going through the financials, I saw $400 for assisting in repairs of the annual report to Jeff Minter.
Yes.
What-
Jeff Minter is he is a retired environmental coordinator,
Okay,
and it's the first year that he's been gone, so Noah Hines, who took that duty over, called him in to make sure that all the i's were dotted and t's were crossed. So he came in under an agreement to come and help get those finalized and checked through them.
so that wouldn't necessarily be assisting in repairs, that would be consulting, wouldn't it? Because I didn't know the annual report was damaged.
No,
No, no.
yeah, so it would be more or less consulting.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know if Noah or who wrote the purchase rec, just the note that
Okay.
came to Sarah was probably.
Okay.
This is the annual report for the emissions, water usage. This isn't our annual report, annual audit.
Oh, no, I just
No.
understand, but
Okay.
it said repairs of the annual
Oh.
report, and I thought,
Yeah.
I didn't know it was broken.
I think what it was a broken spreadsheet, was the issue
Oh,
that no one
okay,
had.
okay, all right. All right, that's all right, that's just,
That's good.
He came in to save the day.
all right.
Okay, you have a question?
I have a question on the water fund. During the year, we will catch up our negative or minus balance.
Yeah, I think it was budgeted that way, because I caught that too.
Because I was looking at that and I thought, I hope by the end of the year,
It's zero.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
zero
summer
balance.
is generally.
I thought I better check though to make sure I'm on track. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. We move to reports of committees. A, Safety Committee, monthly summary injury report. Once again, Greg, we have none, which is fantastic. This is about, what, the 5th or 6th month in a row?
Yeah, it's been quite a long time, and again, that's a credit to all the employees here.
Yeah. Okay, we move to number 6, old business. A, steam conversion update. Turning this over to you, Greg.
Yeah, just put it in there. I know the last couple of meetings we've had lengthy agendas, and I thought, well, let's just talk about this. Cassie gave an update today that there's 50 loans in process.
Oh, great.
I believe that there were about 200 conversion facilities. You know, there's 240 meters, but,
Right.
you know, a lot of them have split meters in buildings and things like that. So there's 50 loans in process, and there's 40 services that haven't been punched in with gas. So we haven't heard from 40 owners.
Okay,
However, I just want to remind people, I think a lot of them may be abandoned buildings that haven't had heat for some years. I think if you remember the discussions, I really don't want to say aloud some of the businesses that haven't been in business, you know, for 5-10 years, that haven't used any steam or electricity or anything. But, you know, so out of the 40, there's maybe 28 or 30 actual active steam users that we haven't heard from.
Okay,
So
Does
we're gonna
that
narrow-
count downtown businesses that
Yes.
converted over to steam already?
Yeah, but there's
Gas
businesses
already?
there that have been shut down since COVID,
Yeah,
that haven't used, and mostly they're downtown.
yeah,
They haven't used a heat source for over 5 years now,
okay.
right? If that makes sense. Again, I don't wanna bring the names to the table, but you can picture some of who they may be.
No, I'll wait, I'll ask later.
Okay.
okay. Hospital on there, are they moving ahead with the boiler?
Yes, I asked Aaron that specific question today. They were planning on fast tracking and doing it at the end of this summer,
Mm-hmm.
but it sounds like they're gonna be, building theirs up next spring.
Oh, okay,
But yeah, they've got the bids in and everything ready to move. So
okay.
it sounds like they're gonna, again, convert next spring.
And then Washington Manors. moving
Washington
ahead.
Manors in process through HRA.
And then we have, that, what's that other, business up there?
Irma's Finley House.
Irma's, are they,
We've heard from Irma's, they put in their application.
they put in their application, so
For
that
gas.
line is pretty well, after those three,
Getting there.
we're getting there. Good, that's good news. Any other major city halls moving forward according to, they're moving?
You know, there's a couple on Main Street we're starting to get a little bit concerned about because we haven't heard much from them.
Right,
One of them's having a finance/bank issue. So, you know, we're informing the bank that, hey, this has to get done. You
Yeah.
know, and all of us here in the room know the day we say we're gonna shut the valve, we have the right to do it. The Attorney General has already stamped it twice because there's a heat source available with power.
right,
So, again, you know, we're gonna start focusing on now the, say, 28 to 40 that we haven't heard from
right,
and make sure we get notice directly to them again and again and again.
yeah,
And everything goes in a file so no one can say they didn't know.
right. From October, I mean, they have 1 year from October of this year
Yep.
to get it done, so, well, that's good. Okay, we move to, any questions for Greg on that? Let's move to number B, water break inventory. Once again, Greg, I'm turning this over to you.
Okay, I just threw a packet on the table for you to see as I talk through this. Typically, every year, we
I didn't see
we give you a recap of the water breaks between January and about now, you know, June, because the majority of our water breaks are usually that March, April, May, you know, with the frost working its way out of the ground. This year, if you look at the bottom in my handwriting, we had 15 water system leaks that were on our mains, and we had 11 private lines. So we've really only had 15 major water breaks. That number, since I've been here for 20 years and ran distribution, I've been in this chair, is typically, I say, about 28. Seems to be our number, you know, with the frost moving in and out, that we, seems to usually have 28 water breaks a year, but. Again, the private lines, the mall had a lot of issues this winter.
Yeah,
You know, I think 2 of them were at the mall on this list.
okay,
Quite a few water service leaks. The ones that were a little bit, where were they? In the leap in the copper line, there were a couple steam, I want the description. There are a couple lines in the old steam manholes that were leaking. And those were, we used to have water-driven pumps in the steam manholes.
oh, yeah,
So when the steam manholes would condensate, or when we'd have rain events or things like that, you know, it was actually a water-driven pump that would pump those manholes out. So a lot of those lines now are gonna be, we're gonna get into the manholes and plug them. Because the steam lines do drain down to the sewers as a storm sewer would, but. Again, I just wanted to give you that, but then if you turn the page, the timing of this report came in Friday, or I was forwarded on Friday, and this is our annual, because of the the EPA survey that was done, if you recall, of the issues with the water system that we had to fix.
Mhm.
One thing that we have to do, even though we do have a $35,000 correlator that helps us look for water breaks,
Mhm.
is we need to do this annual
Leak
water
check?
survey,
Okay.
leak survey.
Yeah,
And they did come in and they found it, I think there's 18 leaks. 8 of them were already on the list from last summer. When we went and met with our correlator, we couldn't find a leak. But now the new correlator that we've upgraded to actually is hearing them, so they've only added 10 to the list, but we're gonna go after those this summer. We've got the crew already working on them.
mhm. Fantastic.
And the biggest thing is, when you talk about water, everybody knows, since I started here 20 years ago, Jeff knows even
Yeah.
better from years before, we've had tremendous unaccounted for water losses here. And we have been finding a lot of stuff that's been going on that we were never able to know existed.
Yeah,
And definitely putting our thumb on them, and I'm hoping that, you know, this work is gonna show that drop significantly in the next year.
it will. It'll pay dividends. You're getting ahead of the game now.
We hope, yes.
Are you looking at blacktopping these repairs anytime soon? I know you were, last month we talked about waiting for the plants to fire up, but
Right.
I do know mine, right on the corner of my house is still dirt.
Yeah, I drove down 8th Street today, there's a bunch of openings on 8th Street and that, and, yeah, the problem with that again is, until the plants start firing up and get caught up with their work, you know, we're just a little patch job, and now we used to have small companies, there was one out of Gilbert, and then there was one out of Buell, and now they aren't really in business anymore, so we're relying on the bigger boys to come and help us. So, we do have the list, it's out there, and, you know, we'll just keep reminding them we got work to do, and it's kinda tough.
You might wanna check the signage too, because it gets moved around.
Well, no,
Especially
I-
in my area because of all the road construction.
Right, now after the rain, those guys should be on them and
Okay.
fixing them up as well.
Okay, any other questions for Greg? None? Okay, let's move on. Nothing under new business, so we move to manager's staff report. Operations update. Turn it over to you, Greg.
Yeah, I just wanted to let you know, we have bids out right now. We've called for bids on the slab for the distribution building.
Right.
If you remember, we did bid that out to get that constructed. So now they're gonna be doing the slab. It's all for bids again. We could have quoted it, but we wanted it engineered and we wanted to get it out publicly. So hopefully we'll get, you know, a lot more bids on it than we would just throwing out to a couple contractors we know. And I'll be reporting to you on, you know, where that's going once we get the bids in hand.
Okay.
The other thing is we're running about 18 to 50,000 on pounds per hour on steam. That's a joke that when everything floods, the steam goes through the roof because
It's
it
floods out.
condensates, you know, with the water so fast. But on the dry days, we're running 18,000 pounds per hour of steam, alternating every 2 weeks from boiler to boiler. If you drive around town, you can tell where all the active steam is, and all of you who are on steam alleys know that after major soaking events like we had, 4.5 inches of rain in X amount of hours, that system is pretty flooded, so.
Greg, you might want to tell them about the electrical outage that happened this
Oh, we had an
morning.
electrical outage this morning, I think it was from about 3:30, 4 o'clock until about 6:30. So we lost our 305 feed that goes to the new substation by the new public safety building, which now is covering a lot of that area. And then we also lost another feed that goes to our Ridgewood sub, which took out a lot of south side, you know, the rest of south side. You probably saw it. And it was due to outages on the Minnesota Power feed system. So again, our guys were out, but it was all outside of town where the issues came from, so. But I think they had it back on by about 6:30.
Yeah, before I left for work, before Saturday was on.
So, thank you.
You know, you wanna maybe tell the public that, about the sewer issue that we're not really responsible for, or since we got cameras going? I mean,
Well,
the Public Works is responsible for the sewer.
right. The only comment that I'll make is I think that, in my opinion, a lot of damage was done last year. You know, a lot of underground damage was done, a lot of issues were created that people weren't aware of. I know a few people who, I know personally, who had water coming right through their walls this year. I know people who had sewage coming up through floor drains. It seems that, you know, there were, last year, it definitely opened people's eyes to get new sump pumps in and things like that, but again, 4.5 inches of water in a short period is tough to deal with, but
No.
as far as how things work or how things play out on the sewer side, that,
But the Public Works is the responsible party for the sewer. I guess that's what I wanted to,
Storm
Same.
and
storm and,
Sanitary.
yeah, storm and sanitary.
yeah. But again,
And there's been a lot of issues on that, so.
well, yeah, I don't want to comment. I
Okay.
think that it's sad, it's a tough situation.
Yeah,
And again, that, you know, that amount of rain in that short amount of period, and then to follow up with a quick dumping again, you know, it was a tough situation.
okay. Okay, any other items of discussion? Cassie, you have anything to add? No? Any questions from the commission? Okay, so is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that.
Is there support?
support.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries unanimously. Thank you.